question I have for you is these people are ghost chasers and they have these devices and everything. Do you believe those devices are real or fake?
I mean,
I'm
they're
gonna
devices.
yeah. Paul and I love this is the thing. I'm definitely more of an asshole than Paul will ever be. But our brains do the same thing. We both believe those are real devices. We neither of us are convinced that those devices can detect the things that those people think they're detecting.
Okay. Because I was watching one of them and there was some type of, they had two types of cameras. They had a regular camera and they had a thermal camera. And
Yeah.
there was something in that hallway, could kind of looked humanoid. But what was strange is where that humanoid was, or whatever that thing was, the air was 20 degrees lower than the rest of the room.
Okay. So let's assume now I have a thermal camera downstairs, in part because we keep reptiles. So I have a number of things to both measure and detect UVA, UVB. I have a number of temperature guns where you can just point it and the little laser thing will tell you what the temperature is. But I also have a camera which can film areas. Now and it puts up the color spectrum image to show where the hot spots are and shows temperatures and everything else. I can say I haven't seen the specific one you're talking about, and I am not an
Mhm.
expert on those cameras. But when you say, do I believe that those devices do what they say they do? Do I believe that they have a camera to varying degrees accurately measures temperature in an area? Sure. What conclusion can we draw from there being a cooler spot in a thermal photograph of a hallway?
I'm not sure.
Me neither. And yet these people seem to think that they've detected a ghost. How do we know
Mhm.
whether or not ghosts are warmer or colder, whether or not ghosts show up on thermal imaging? How do we know any of that?
That's true. That's a fair question. And here's something else that I personally experienced. 2003, I came home after work and my brother-in-law met me at the car and he said, you're going to have to do something. I said, what do you mean? He said, your son, youngest one, tried to kill the older son with a knife. And I said, what happened? And he said, well, it took all three of us to subdue him. So what I did right away is being a Christian. I had some friends that, I consider veterans. But what happens is they prayed over him and nothing changed because he had this extremely evil look on his face. And what happened was, so we went back home and started looking through the Bible, looking for an answer. And the son, the oldest one, just looked at him and said, I just looked at that horrible look is off of its face. And then the next thing I know, he comes running into the room and he stops right in front of my wife and says, Mommy, don't let him get me. And she said, who gets you? And something, I don't know how it happened, but it looked like something invisible grabbed him by the neck, raised him 1 foot up in the air, and threw him 3 feet back into the wall. And then what we found, my sister-in-law, she said, there's something in this house that doesn't belong. And I said, whatever it is, find it. So she went to his room, the youngest one, and she finds a pouch. And there's a crystal in there that's lavender color. And everybody that looked at it I felt nauseous when I looked at it instead of everybody else. So we ended up throwing that in the river, and we had no more experiences like that after that. Um, so, I'm not, that's the experience I have that I'm just still trying to, figure it out.
Okay. Are you saying you actually saw your kid levitate a foot up into the air and then launch 3 feet?
Yes, I saw it, my wife saw it, and my oldest son saw it.
Okay. How would anybody else confirm this?
Like, you mean outside? Someone outside the family?
Yeah. I mean,
Because that was
I,
the
I cannot demonstrate that you're not being honest. You may be being completely
Mhm,
honest. You may be exaggerating a bit. You may be, only embellishing a bit.
mhm,
I have no way of doing it. If nobody outside has any way to confirm that this happened,
mhm,
what's the next step that we would do? How could we possibly investigate this? Even for those of you who saw what you say you saw, how would you
mhm.
investigate to find out how or why it happened?
Well, I can only tell you what I believe. Uh,
I'm
I
so
repeatedly
so the
told my
fact
son to stay out of the woods that we're close to because I was afraid of predators. But that's where he found that crystal at. And
okay.
he stuck it in the house. And that's when his personality started changing. He became violent, angry. And But after that night
But
when he got thrown against the wall, he was like back to normal.
at best, that's correlation at this point. So
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things is, I really wish you hadn't thrown the crystal away, because it seems to me that if I found a crystal and
Hmm.
everybody who looked at it got nauseous, it would be worth taking it somewhere to get it investigated, right?
Right.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, I'd have to find that crystal's in a river, right? So, but I did
Why didn't you
want
do it the
to
first time?
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Why didn't you do it the first time?
and
Wasn't
poison the
I
water
kept it or
supply
whatever?
potentially.
Okay, I'm getting a little, I'm having a little trouble. You're fading in and out on me. Is that better? Can you hear me okay?
Well, we hear you
Yep.
just fine. I'm saying,
Okay. I can hear you.
maybe I'm weird, but if I found a crystal in my house and everybody in my house who looked at it got nauseous, there's no way
Hmm.
in hell I'd go throw it in a river. I'd box that sucker up and
Hmm.
take it to somebody to investigate it, to say, why is this crystal apparently making people nauseous? Is it emitting some kind of radiation? And by the way, does it have the same effect on other people? Maybe it's not the crystal.
Hmm.
Maybe the crystal just happened to be there and there was something else that was making you nauseous. I don't understand why people wouldn't investigate it.
Well, because I mean, when you're in a situation like that, your adrenaline's going, and a lot of times you don't think 3D or whatever, or think outside the box. But the only thing is, I do have a friend, she's into crystals, and she told me to stay away from the lavender one. She's all the other crystals are okay,
Okay.
but stay away from that one. And I
Okay.
know I wish
So
I could get, I wish I could get
it
her on
doesn't
here,
it
but
doesn't doesn't
um,
matter what your it doesn't matter what your friend says, because in the entire history of the world, nobody has
mhm,
ever demonstrated that any crystal or any particular colored crystal has any sort of supernatural effect. Never. So, what your friend says about the purple ones is irrelevant until they can demonstrate that there's something actually there. You know, when you ask your
mhm,
friend who's into crystals about crystals, that's like asking your friend who's into tarot cards what the tarot cards mean. Tarot cards are pieces of paper. They don't have any
mhm.
impact on any.
I think I lost for you. I think I lost your call here.
No, I'm
You're
just
still
here.
here?
Just
Oh, okay.
can you hear it?
I don't know. Must be something wrong with my internet or something. But yeah, like I said, I wish I could go back in time and do that.
What's strange is, while the various claims about crystals are never demonstrated or confirmed, when I Google lavender stones right now, this site says
Hmm.
that lavender stone is a dynamic and active stone that will both calm and energize you when you need it, which is literally an
Hmm.
incredibly stupid statement to say that it will both calm and
Yeah.
energize you. But it says it gives off
Hmm.
important energy that will help you make use of your imagination to the fullest. So maybe the lavender stone just made you imagine things.
That's a possibility.
No, you don't
But
get to say that it's possible that the stone impacted your ability to imagine things. You have to demonstrate
mm,
that that's a possibility. This is what we're
right.
doing. Until you demonstrate that there's some reason to think that that stone did anything, it's not a candidate
Hmm.
explanation for anything. And you took the only physical piece of potential evidence in the entire story and threw it away.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
if I
But I
told
just consider it a normal reaction because that's what I saw as the instrumental problem. That's
what if you're wrong? And what if you're right?
it-
I mean, if there was something in my house that was causing people to get sick, why would I go pollute the water stream, as Paul was pointing out with it? I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Jerry, other than you have no way to demonstrate any of the things you suspect to yourself
mm,
or anybody else. And none of us have any ability to investigate it. You threw away
mhm,
the only piece of evidence that we have or would have had to support even your speculation, and no way to
mhm.
confirm anything else. So maybe, I guess, either hope that it never happens again, or hope that if it does happen again, you learn how to investigate better. But in the end, it just ends up being another story that I have no reason to believe is accurate,
Okay. Well, I
which is
respect
not.
that.
Okay, because it's not me. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying I don't have any reason to
Right.
think it's true.
That makes sense. All right. Well, I tell you what, I want to thank you for having me on your show, and I really appreciate the time being here.
And next time you're at a
Thanks, Jer.
party, if you have both of these stories, don't open with the "it was cold in part of the room" story. Open with the other story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Thanks,
makes
Jerry. Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely right.